All right, welcome everybody. We're going to be getting started in just a minute. This is Zarinah. You are listening to I love that part. It's El-Sarah, which is a group out of Sudan. You got to look her up if you don't know her. Can you hear my voice? This is testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. If you can hear my voice, type in where you're joining us from and that you can hear me. Yes. Thank you. Hey. Woo! All right. We're going to be getting started in just a minute. Share this out to your friends and family as well. Some people that may want to join in. Okay, I see we have one person who can hear. Can the rest of you who are here right now, can you also hear me? Welcome everybody, come on in. All right, you guys are coming on in. Awesome. Oh my God, I love them. They are my new favorite group. I'm going to put it into the chat so you guys know who that is, so you can look it up later if you all want to check them out. They are amazing. So welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. This is Zarinah, El-Amin, Naeem, and this is our first masterclass of 2019. So for those of you who are new to us, one of the things that we do in everything that we do, both virtually as well as physically, is that we always create what we call our cocoon, our web of energy. And so when you're typing in where you are joining us from, the city, I want you to imagine that there is a line from me, I'm in Detroit, Michigan right now, to you in Ann Arbor, right? So it's to you in Ontario, to you, Felicia, in Detroit. So I want you to imagine that there is a line of energy literally connecting you and I at this moment. And just the same way that we believe that when I take my cell phone and I go to send an email from my phone to someone else who's all the way across the world, right, that message is going to get to them, we want to also have that same belief with our energetic connection right here, right, with our energetic connection right here. What you should see on the screen is my slides. If you can see that, you're good. You should be able to see my slides. I'm hoping that you can see my slides. So that's to answer your question, Sister Man. You should be able to see my slides. Catherine in Australia, welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're creating a cocoon. When I call out your city, I want you to envision that there is a line connecting us energetically. And as I mentioned, we believe in all of these other type of wireless connections, fax machines and sending everything else telepathically, right? So we also are going to be able to tap into the metaphysical world that says that you and I can be connected spiritually and energetically, whether or not we are in the same room. Is that okay? Can you guys go with me with that for the moment? Is that okay? All right. So Detroit, Ann Arbor, Ontario, Detroit again, and Adelaide, Australia. Awesome. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate that. All right. So today is about enlivening your leadership. It's about reviving your spirit and making a global impact that really shakes up the world. My name is Zarinah El-Amin Naeem. I am an anthropologist. I am a transformative travel expert. I am a cultural presenter. I am a head rapologist. I've taken over 38 women around the world to Morocco, Indonesia, and Senegal. And so today you are in good hands. All right. You are definitely in good hands. But I'm excited because we have a blessed period of time right now where we get to dive deep into some subjects that not a lot of people, quite frankly, spend time on exploring. And we get to go into areas that are so important for not only us personally as women, as global women, as global leaders, but also areas that really contribute to our society. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you some of what I've learned over the last 17 years as an anthropologist and student of culture. All right, sound good? Wonderful. Good. Okay, great. All right. So before we get started, I want to know why you are here. What do you want to get out of today? Because you could be spending your time doing 1,000,001 different things, right? But why are you here with us today? What do you want to get out of it? So go ahead and type into the chat box one of the reasons why you are joining this masterclass today. And I should tell you that this is an interactive experience. And what I mean by that is that this is not where you're just going to sit back and passively listen to everything that Zarinah says and go and click off and say, wow, that was a great webinar. That was a great masterclass. You know, I want you to literally be a part of the learning here. You are contributing to what's going to be happening here collectively. And so for that, when I ask a question, I'm expecting that you're going to type in an answer. I'm expecting that even if you don't want to share at that moment, you don't feel like sharing, you want to be sort of passive, then I'm expecting that you're going to push past that and you are going to be an active participant. So this is something that is very important to me, as well as everything that we do in Enliven Your Soul, because it's not just about acquiring knowledge passively, sitting down, listening. It's about taking action, right? You guys agree? We can't get anything done in life if we don't learn and apply. Knowledge without action is like defunct. It has no purpose, right? So we have to listen and then also apply. And so we're going to be practicing that while we're here for this short period of time, with you all being active participants with some of the things that we're going to do. All right, so Catherine said that she was curious about the title when I opened the email. So she's open to what you can get out of it. Awesome. Lovely. Sister Samaya, I am trying to decide on the next steps in my life. All right, great. Wonderful. Okay, so no problem. No problem. No, you're not going to nod off, Catherine. You're going to stay awake, baby. You are all the way over there in Australia, but we got you. So send her the energy, you all. Send her the energy. Send it all the way down to Catherine. All right, Aisha, I was interested when you mentioned people in Egypt not even going to see the pyramids. Okay, all right, all right. The chat box won't open. That's weird. I don't know how to make it open for you on your side. Is there a way? Oh, you got it. Okay, so I'm not going to really try to troubleshoot all of the technical issues. If you get kicked off or something, just come back in. Like, just reopen it or refresh the screen, or, you know, do whatever you need to do. All right, ready? Let's go. So thank you all for doing that, for sharing with me why you all are looking to get what you all want to get out of it today. So I want to begin with one of my favorite images of all time. This is hands down one of my favorite images. And the story that goes along with it is somewhat of an urban legend, really. I don't know if it's true. It really feels like an urban legend, but I still love it anyway. So as I mentioned, I'm an anthropologist, and so I read a lot of studies of other anthropologists and travelers and people who are connecting to the world. And so I came across this study of a man who was studying in Southern Africa, you know, down close to Zimbabwe, Botswana, you know, down in that area. And he was looking at the community life of an indigenous tribe. And at one moment, he's surrounded by a lot of kids. And he decided he was going to put together a race. And the prize for the race, whoever won the race, was going to get this big basket of goodies, like all these fruits and just sweets and stuff that people would want, right? So he lined up all the kids, had them all lined up on the road. He said, ready, set, right? So their eye is down on the tree where they're all going to be running to. Whoever gets there first gets the prize. Ready, set, run. So they all took off running. Now, what they did was something that was totally shocking to the anthropologist. They all held hands, ran down towards the tree, arrived at the tree at the exact same time, so that no one was a winner, no one was a loser. They all got there at the exact same time, and thus were all be able to share the prize. So the guy asked them, like, whoa, why did you guys do that? And so one girl responded. She said, Ubuntu, how can one of us be happy if all the others are sad? How can one of us be happy if all the others are sad? And that right there, my friends, is what many would call, being a global citizen. It is having a worldview that is outside of yourself, in which you don't neglect your own needs, right? But you merge your needs with those around you. Remember, I titled this Enlivened Leadership, right? How to revive your spirit and make a global impact. So when you're becoming a global citizen, a global leader, it's not about pushing everything that you are, pushing all of what you desire in life to the side. It is about bringing forward what you are looking to get out of life, as well as the needs of those around us. All right, can we see that? And isn't that an absolutely beautiful story? If anyone has been in like a rural area, you know how there are so many beautiful children around. And if you stop and listen and watch them, you can learn so much. All right. So today is about taking that concept of being a global citizen, someone who is not without your own needs, but someone who is broader than just your own worldview. And I want to, quite frankly, disrupt your thinking. I want to have your mind opened in such a way so that your next phase of life, your next steps, where you're going in your life, your next chapter that you are writing is not going to be constricted by the rules that have been laid out for you up until this point. Right? Up until this point. Now, why would I want to do that? Because I'm here to create a global movement of women. It has been determined and it has been made so clear to me by God that that is one of my purposes here, that we are going to create a global movement of women, of leaders, of entrepreneurs, of change agents, of educators, of global citizens, right? Women who are leading the world towards the direction of positive evolution. Now, when I say positive evolution, what I mean by that is that the world is constantly changing. You guys agree with me? Right? The world is constantly changing, but it does not mean that it is changing in ways that are going to contribute to the growth and the positiveness of our humanity. And so when we're talking about moving towards the direction of positive evolution, you, my dear, quite frankly, are a part of that. And so it's bigger than just you and I. It is about the state of our humanity. And I know that for some of us, that feels like a big order. It feels huge. It feels heavy. It feels daunting. But by the end of our short time today, I want us to feel excited. And you, by being here already, have demonstrated that you are someone of action. You are someone that is concerned about the world. You are someone that wants to see things go in a direction that is going to be better and better and better for our future generations. We aren't trying to go backwards, right? We're trying to make things better. So if you're here up and game for that, I want to hear you type in global citizen. That tells me that you got the mindset of what it is that I'm laying out for us today. And I'm going to be talking about exactly how we're going to start that process. But I have to know right up front that you are at least with me up to here, that you're open to what I'm going to share. So if you're open to this, type in global citizen. type in global citizen. And I really want, as I mentioned, for those of you who are just coming on, that this is an interactive masterclass. This is not just something where you're just going to sit back. So participate, right? Type in, ask questions when it comes to Q&A. If you have a question, don't sit down on it. Ask the question that you have. Thank you. I see you. Global Citizen Catherine. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So I am about disrupting your mindset. And in particular, I'm about looking at the 3 cultural fairy tales. This is what I deem it. You know, I have to put everything in my anthropological terms. So these are the 3 cultural fairy tales that are hindering our leadership as global women. All right, as global women. Now, for those of you who are brand new to me, I'm going to share with you a little bit more about my background. And the way I'm going to do this is a way that, quite frankly, does not feel that comfortable for me. It doesn't feel that comfortable for me, but I am stretching, I am growing, and my team has told me that this is something that I need to do. So leadership is not just about like being all, doing whatever you want to do. It's also about listening, right? And being able to take advice from those around you. So what I'm going to do is something that I don't normally do. It's not very comfortable for me, but I'm going to share a video that my team put together to kind of introduce some of who I am. You guys ready? All right. So today is all about globalizing your mind for women who really are into transformative travel, self-discovery, adventure, and service. So really, this is a time for women to step away from everything that they do on a day-to-day basis, the rote routine of life, and be able to come into a space that is designed specifically for their growth, for their personal development, for their enhancement.
Zarinah has a beautiful soul. She does things for so many people. She motivates me to do better for myself. And I'm happy to be honored to be a part of such an amazing event.
Was that like your biggest vision? Is there anything you could add and any way you can make it even more expansive as far as your vision, what you're calling God to give you, what you want to see, what your door is opening up to?
Zarinah, El-Amin, nice to see you, and you look beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Bring all kinds of fashion for the Head Wrap Expo.
This is the global art of head wrapping to build love. That's really what we're all about.
We have the founder of the Head Wrap Expo and a head wrapologist, and of course our lovely models here.
So many global phenomena, and head wrapping is one of them. So head wrapping is something that you literally can find any place you go.
In general, Zarinah is amazing and I cannot give the woman enough kudos.
But you also have to be able to observe like yourself and your relationship to what you are seeing. So we're going to start actually with ourselves and go deep within ourselves and be able to look at how you got to be Lydia, how you got to be Leslie, how you got to be Bedrea, how you got to be Aloe.
I think Zarinah is a very powerful force that she's one of those angels that God puts in our place for us that will make a way out of no way. And I've had a chance to meet a couple of those in my lifetime. They made my dreams come true.
I just, learned about Zarinah's work, and so I was very excited to come this time. It was a new experience for me, and I really enjoyed it.
I wanted to think about our cultural boxes, if you will, the things that have contained and led into how we have come to be who we are.
I thank God for Zarinah, for her having had the foresight to bring something like this to our community.
Zarinah really pulls in our, kind of opens us up to be a little bit more vulnerable, allowing us to see our own path in this process. So I think I've had the pleasure of having that experience, kind of letting someone work on me and then also doing the work myself.
All right, so That always feels so weird for me, like sharing. But as a global leader, as someone who is stepping and constantly growing, we have to do some things sometimes that don't necessarily feel 100% comfortable for us. And so I did that because that's something that I have to stretch myself to share out, things that I've done, and my team has been really pushing me to do that. But you as well, while you're evolving into your next phase, there are going to be some things that you're going to do that may not feel 100% comfortable for you. And so it is an exercise of leadership to begin to stretch and to do those things that are necessary, even if it's not 100% comfortable. So can you all agree with that? So are you willing even to stretch? Are you willing to kind of go beyond? Are you willing to do things that allow you to make a bigger impact, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable? If yes, type in yes, 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 yes. All right. Now, what you see on the screen is just a reminder for you to put aside any distractions. We say this all the time, but people always try to do it. You try to listen to me and do Facebook, listen to me and check email, cut it out. Like, you can't do all that stuff at once. So put all of the distractions to the side and actually focus. Focus. All right. Focus on exactly what we're going to get out of today. All right, so today again is about enlivened leadership. It's reviving your spirit and making a global impact that is really going to shake up the world. So as I mentioned, there are 3 kind of cultural fairy tales that I have found that really hinder our leadership. And I want to share 3 of those with you today. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get through everything, but if I don't, then I'll just kind of reserve whatever is left over for the next masterclass. So kind of be gentle with me, if you will. All right, be gentle with me. All right, so the 3 cultural fairy tales that hinder your leadership. And we're going to start with the cultural fairy tale number 1. All right, now, how many of you all have ever felt this way? Where you are buttoned up, perfect, everyone sees you as the epitome of success, right? They see you as someone that has everything going for you, right? But you literally feel like almost like a ticking bomb, like you are a walking just dynamite, where your spirit is not really connected to what it is that you're doing in your life at that moment, where you are living, but it's kind of just everything is not quite into place. And sometimes you know exactly why that feeling is there, but sometimes you can't even quite put your finger on exactly what's missing, because you have your house, you have, the income, you have the car, you have food, right? You have everything that you need, quote unquote, need in order to be happy, but there is something that's missing. And I think that we have in our society this notion, this fairy tale that has been sold to women in particular, that is literally draining the soul out of us. They tell us that while we are growing up, really all you need to do to be happy is to go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, you graduate, and then you get your job, right? Go to school, and you get this job, and then you're going to be happy. That's what they say. How many of you have heard that? Like, you were taught, go to school, get good grades, go to college, graduate, and then take a job with benefits, and everything else is going to fall into place. So what happens when that's not the case? Like, what happens when you've done everything that society has said, you listened to the fairy tale, you took it to heart, and there is still something that's not quite right. And so you're walking around with this feeling of despair, but you are still showing up and doing everything that you're, quote unquote, supposed to be doing, right? You're living your life and you're putting on the face for everyone around you. But deep at night, in the middle of the night, in the times where you're alone, like there is something that's weighing on your spirit. There's something that's calling you and saying, hey, wake up. Like, this is not the way life is supposed to be. I don't know exactly what needs to change, but something needs to change here, right? Something needs to change. How many of you have felt this way or know someone else, if you don't want to admit it? How many of you have felt this way before, that there is something missing? And what we don't want to get is that we don't want to get to the place in our life where it becomes a major regret and it's too late for us to do something about it. The fact that you are here right now means that God is calling you. God has placed on your heart something that it is your place in order to bring forward, right? And I work, my father has a funeral home, and so I'm around death, a lot. I'm around people who are in hospice and such a lot. And studies have shown this, but I've seen it experientially. I've seen it like through my father's work, that when people get to the end of their life, they're not upset about like the things that they've done wrong. Perhaps they were really more upset about all of the opportunities and ways that they have like squandered their life. They're like, I wish I had done this. I wish I had been brave enough to do that. I wish I had at least tried this. I wish I had started this. I had this idea, but never really got it going. Those are the things that people are regretting. So you being here right now means that you have the opportunity to take your life in your hands and write that next chapter. Eliminate that false fairy tale that has been told to us over and over and over again, and find out what is actually going to feed your spirit. So for me, this really started in my life after I graduated from college. Because when I was in college, I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. And when I was in college, I did what I was supposed to do. I followed the fairy tale. I went to school. I had a full ride. I was in engineering. I was, good at what I was doing. I wasn't great. I wasn't the best. I was in computer science. I wasn't the best programmer, system analyst, but, I was good enough to get job offers, which is what everybody told me I was supposed to do, right? And something clicked in me in my before my senior year, like the summer between junior and senior year, where I was like, you know what? No, this is not the road that feels great for me. This is not the path that I need to take. And so I decided to turn around and write a new chapter. I literally stopped all of my progression within computer science and in my career. I didn't take any of my job offers. And then I moved to Egypt, halfway across the world, where I knew no one, had no friends, no family, didn't speak Arabic, right? I moved all the way over there because something in my soul was like, Zarinah, see the world, study other cultures, learn about other people, like get out there. And even though it wasn't popular, I said, I have to do it for myself. And this decision, while everybody thought I was crazy, stupid to turn down so much money and become a teacher, right? Like teaching is the most lucrative field in the world. Not right now, it's not. I wish it does become that. But right now it's still not. So everyone thought that my decision wasn't the best thing for me. But that decision literally opened up my entire world. It set me on the path to where I am today. And what I found is that doing things that are sometimes against the grain, but in congruence with your own spirit. So those are the things that really make the biggest leaps in your life. And when I say against the grain, not against your own grain, but against the grain of society, but are in congruence with your own spirit, those are where you're going to make the biggest leaps in your life. And so after Egypt, I went on to work in Sierra Leone, West Africa. My job was to work immediately after the war. So the war is happening in Sierra Leone. I'll tell you guys about that another day. But the war was happening in Sierra Leone. My job was to come in and revamp our field office that was there. And so you can imagine like the state of a society that just finished their civil war, right? You can imagine what the world looked like from that lens, right? It was literally the poorest country in the world, according to the United Nations at that time. So these are some of the things that have contributed to what I'm teaching and what I'm sharing with you today, how we're building this global movement of global citizens and women who are making an impact. These are some of the experiences that have led to where I'm hoping to take you, right? And so I noticed that for me, making those decisions changed my life. Now, sometimes you can make a decision and get on the trajectory, but then sometimes you can kind of slip back. And I want to share with you a little bit about how I slipped back. So this is my family. These are my 3 kids. That's my husband, El-Amin. And another quote kind of fairy tale that came in that affected my life is that, you know, when you get married, right? How many of us have kind of put ourselves to the side when you got married? Those of you who are married or who have known married friends, you know, you may have seen that before. And so I had this whole international life that was lighting me up. But when I got married, my husband was doing his doctorate in psychology. I literally put my whole life on hold and came and lived and settled in Kalamazoo, Michigan, a little small town, college town in Michigan. That was one of the stupidest things that I ever did in my life, where I thought that my marriage meant that I had to change really a part of who I was, that I couldn't have a successful marriage with me being the way I was traveling and doing all of those things. And so sometimes you can be on a trajectory, but you can allow cultural fairy tales once again. What society tells you is the way that you need to live and act and do your life. You can allow those to sometimes derail you. And that's what I did at this period of my life. So I had the children. I had what everybody thought looked great on the outside. But on the inside, I was literally like dying. I was like, oh my God, I have got to get back into doing Zarinah. I have got to get back to stuff that Zarinah loves. I have got to get back to me. You know what I mean? And I couldn't allow myself to just keep living like this happy-go-lucky face when really inside I knew that there was something missing. And so it went on for a while. You know, I was working in Kalamazoo. I was in charge of this great project called the Race Project, where I'm bringing together people of different ethnic groups and talking about racism and all of that. You know, I'm doing amazing stuff, right? It's great for everybody else. But it was something that was missing for me. And so part of this big myth is that this professional success, what they tell us, you know, professional success means that you're going to be happy and satisfied. If you're professionally successful, you're going to be happy and satisfied. And this cultural myth, this fairy tale that they're telling us is literally killing us. And so for me, I was like, I had to break out. So you saw some of this in the video. I decided that I was going to start doing the things that I was passionate about. Head wrapping was one of them. You know, I led a big movement around head wrapping, but not just for the beauty of the scarves, but in a way that did what I do as an anthropologist on connecting different cultures. So I would bring together the Sikh Indians, the Muslims, the Christians, the Orthodox Jews, right? The Rastafarians, everybody who wears a head wrap or a turban or something. At some point, I brought together all of these different groups together. So I put my personal spin on this global art, right? And so what I'm sharing with you right now is not just so that you see what Zarinah has done, but I do want you to know me better, right? But it's also for you to be able to get some ideas about ways that you can combine your leadership with the skills and passionate things that you are passionate about, right? So another thing was that traveling. I love to travel. I stopped for so many years. Then I said, okay, I want to get back to traveling. I did some stuff for myself. And then I was like, I want to be able to bring this experience to other women. So I see Julie, who just came on. Julie's coming, and Sister Samaya. So they're both coming to Morocco with us in April, right? And so for me, it was like, how can I bring the joy of transformative travel to other women so that they too can experience what I have been blessed to experience? So this is a group that I took to Senegal. And I'm laughing at Rima's face on the side with her open mouth. But that's the way you feel like when you're living life fully, right? When you're really doing things and you're enlivened, you get that sense of happiness. And that's what I wanted for myself. That's what I want for you. So this is the last group that we took to Morocco. And it was absolutely a beautiful experience. Now, if I hadn't started doing those things again, I could tell you that I probably would be in some type of little depression, quite frankly, because I was doing so much community work here in Michigan, but literally I was dying. And so what I'm hoping for you is that you get out of whatever it is that is your fairy tale that you have been holding on to, or how culture has affected you, and you need to get out of it. So part of your homework for today, if you have a piece of paper and a pencil, write this down. I'm hoping that you have some paper. I had a client the other day that I think it was his second session, and he was like, okay, are you taking notes? And I was like, I'm taking notes for me, but you got to take your own notes, right? Like, this is your life. Don't expect anybody else to be able to affect your life without you taking some action. So take notes, right? Take notes. So I want you to think about, what is your fairy tale story? What's something that you have been holding on to that's no longer feeding you? What's an idea that has been implanted in your mind, something that culture and society has told you over and over and over again, but you know that that is not really in congruence with your spirit and the way that God really wants you to live your life. Identify that so that you begin to write a new story. You guys with me? Julie says, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. All right. All right. That I need a husband to be happy. Right. Society says that. And it's not true. It's not true. All right. So I want you guys to really do that today. And I want you to send me an email or post it up in our Facebook group. I have a group that I'll send out to you all so you can post it up there. Let's keep this conversation going. All right. So cultural fairy tale number 2. Cultural fairy tale number 2 is about what leadership looks like, right? What leadership is, what's good leadership, and what's like, oh, that's just not really important. So what people often say is that leaders, are all famous people, and they're like big time people, they're big organizations and such. And this is a cultural fairy tale. It's a myth that is put out and is perpetuated in order to keep people from actually doing the best that they can do. So what we see, like when we see the Global Citizen Festival, when we see big things happening, we see like Michelle Obama, which is amazing, right? I don't have anything against Michelle Obama, but we don't have to be a Michelle Obama or Oprah in order to make an impact in the world. You don't have to reach millions and millions of people in order to make a massive impact in the world, in order to be someone who is contributing to the positive evolution of society. And I remember I had a woman who was interested in our Luminary Global Academy, and on one of the things I said it was for women leaders. And do you know that it piqued her interest, but then she didn't actually come to one of the, I had a event that was happening called Globalize Your Mind. She didn't come to the event because she felt like she wasn't a leader. And I was like, everyone is a leader. We all have leadership within us. It's about bringing it out. So our society has put this message and kind of put the face on what they think leaders look like. And you got to break out of that for you. Understand that your message, your skills, your gifts, what you have, who you are is special. And it can contribute to the positive evolution of our society. You do not have to have 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 followers on social media. You do not have to have 1,000,001 people on your email list in order for you to be someone who is valuable, someone who is contributing. You are enough. So we have got to break out of this fairy tale of thinking that leadership looks a certain way, that you have to be a big organization in order to make things happen. Because a lot of times the big organizations are dropping the ball. They are doing things in the wrong way. Here's an example. So we have, after Haiti, when all of the big things, the earthquake happened in Haiti, the Red Cross, organization that everybody knows about. Everybody knows about the Red Cross. People literally poured their pockets out to the Red Cross. Just donated, because they saw what was happening in Haiti. The Red Cross raised $500 million, $500 million they raised for Haiti. And then after a long period of time, they only built 6 homes. Are you kidding me? Like, talk about the abuse of power. Talk about philanthropy gone wrong, right? I mean, and so you have to realize that just because something has a big name and everybody knows it, it doesn't mean that that's the best way to make change. So bigger is not always better. Bigger is not always better. Now, here's an example from us. Because for a while, I didn't really share everything that I did because I was like, oh, it's just a little nonprofit, you know, da, da, da. And that's totally whack. One, I am diminishing the blessings that God has given me and kind of like slapping God in the face. Like, not that God has a face, you know, people are going to be like, that's so wrong. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? You know, I had this feeling for myself that even that word little, but the things that I was doing were not important enough to kind of share. It wasn't really a big deal. And so this is 2019. So 2002. So for the 2003, I think. So for the last 16 years, we've had a small girls education. I should stop saying small. I got to get the words out of my own head. Stop saying small. Stop saying little. We had a scholarship program for young girls in Sierra Leone, West Africa. So this young lady on here is Sintu. Her name is Sintu. And she was one of the first young ladies that I met. And I will tell you about her. When you stay with me, you'll learn more about Sintu and Bora. But she was one of the first young ladies that really pushed me to start a scholarship program. And so now we are a 501c3 organization, but it started with just me, Sintu, and Bora, and I would support their education. So is it the Red Cross raising $500 million? No, but I knew exactly where my money was going and that it was going to support this young lady, and she was going to be able to get in school where she wasn't being able to go before, right? And so what I want you to implant in your mind is that you start where you are, right? You start where you are with what you have. Don't feel like in order to make a global impact, you have to have a big name, right? You have to have a big following. It's simply not true. And yes, Sister Samaya, who's here as well, she says her school, she has a school in Pakistan that she started called the Satara Institute. And so it is an example of her being passionate about something and then doing something about it, right? It's not like she just sat there and just said, oh, I'm just going to, you know, I have this feeling I want to do something for education, but just going to let it be a feeling for this year and next year and the year after that and the year after that. Like at some point, you got to actually put some action behind the things that you're feeling called to. So this was our stuff. And in Sierra Leone, I did a dream party for the girls. Now, is it Oprah's big school that she has? That's, you know, this big school where she's pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars into each girl? No. But the dream party that we did with them opened their minds to the possibilities of what they could become. It gave them the permission at that moment to see that they could do whatever it is that they want to do in life. So was it 1 million people? No, I think it was like 8 girls and their guardians there, right? But did it make an impact? Absolutely. It made an impact. So bigger is not always better. Now, we always do some type of service, and everything that Enliven Your Soul does with our global movement. When we go to Morocco, when we go to Senegal, this is us in Senegal, we always try to do some type of lasting service project. Something where we are giving back, right, to the society that we're learning so much from. So this year, we're going to Morocco, Tanzania, and Japan. And in every single one of those locations, we are connecting with not the Red Cross, but we're connecting with small organizations that are really making an impact. All right. So for those of you who are saying that, okay, well, I have to have an organization, please don't take that from what I'm saying. You do not have to start your own organization. All you have to do is be passionate about something and get up and do something about it. Whether that is donating to another organization or giving your time to another organization or volunteering, right? So you don't have to start a big organization or a small organization. You just have to be passionate about it and you want to do something. So I'm going to ask you right now, like, where do you want to shine your light? Right? Maybe it's economic equality, racial equality, health, poverty, hunger, youth development, senior care, right? Maybe education. Where do you want to shine your light? What is something that is weighing on you where when you look at it, when you hear about it, it's like, oh my God, someone needs to do something about that. someone needs to do, or maybe you are that someone. What is it that you feel called to do? And notice that any of these areas, right? Any of these areas are big enough that if you just focused on one even small subset of one of these areas, you would be making a major impact in the world. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? And maybe shout out from here right now. I want to know, what is something that you are passionate about? What is something? Animal rights, mental health, maybe languages, food, micro business loans, right? The environment, prison reform, protecting sharks, protecting the bees. Like, what is something that you are passionate about? Where is an area that you want to shine your light? All right, where's an area that you want to shine your light? Because quite frankly, the frustrations that you feel are God calling you. It is God saying that, hey, it is time for you to do something. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know how you're going to shake up the world, but it's time for you to do something. So type in, we got women's empowerment and education and languages. Languages right now, we're finding that so many indigenous languages are going extinct, which means that that cultural environment is also going to be erased. So languages are super, super, super important. Patricia, education, providing quality education to children. Amazing. Awesome. All right. What about the rest of you? This is interactive. I want to hear from you. Type in, right? I'm giving you, I want you to give back to me. This is one of the ways that you can give back to me, is by typing in when I ask you a question. So what is something else that you are passionate about? All right. So I want to return back to this notion of Ubuntu for a second. And I want to bring in one of the most famous leaders, right? Someone who people might say, well, I'm not Nelson Mandela, so I can't be a really big leader. But he is indeed an inspiration to so many, right? Now, I want to bring it back because how he explains the concept of Ubuntu. If you don't remember what I mentioned earlier, when the young lady who was in the race, when they all ran down and collectively won the prize, he asked her, why did you all do that? And she said, Ubuntu. How can one of us be sad? How can one of us be happy how can any of us be happy when one of us is sad? So there's an American company called Linux that actually took that word Ubuntu and created a whole software about it. All right, so I want to play a short video from Nelson Mandela.
Many people regard you as a personification of Ubuntu. What do you understand Ubuntu to be?
In the old days when we were young, a traveler through a country would stop at a village and he didn't have to ask for food or for water. Once he stops, the people give him food, entertain him. That is one aspect of Ubuntu, but it will have various aspects. Ubuntu does not mean that people should not enrich themselves. The question, therefore, is, are you going to do so in order to enable the community around you to be able to improve? These are the important things in life. And if one can do that, you have done something very important which will be appreciated.
So again, notice that Mr. Mandela said that it isn't just about, yourself, right? It's about how can you make a contribution to those around you. So your second part, you all taking notes, right? The second part that I want you to do is to think about how you want to illuminate the world around you. What do you want to do, right? What do you want to do? All right. Moving on to cultural fairy tale number 3. The cultural fairy tale number 3. Now, This is also a big thing. It is a big thing that, as I mentioned earlier, some of us don't ever take the time to actually dig into. And it is that you can be a leader. People say that you can be a leader. You don't really have to think about your inner beliefs and your cultural wombs. And I'll explain cultural wombs in a moment. But people say that, like, they feel like you can actually be a leader just by putting yourself out there without taking the time to actually evaluate who you are. And that is simply not true. It's not true. Okay. In order to be a global leader, you have got to look at your culture. You have got to look at how you became who you are today. And so culture, this is one of my favorite definitions. It's a word that's thrown out in, 1,000,001 different definitions, but this is one of my favorite by the United Nations. UNESCO. So they said that culture is a way of a life of a group of people. It's the behaviors, the beliefs, the values, the symbols that those people accept, generally without thinking about them. Okay? So those behaviors, beliefs, values, and symbols are passed along by communication and imitation from one generation to the next. Woo! Generally without thinking about them. What that means is that our culture is acting upon us and we absorb it oftentimes without putting the ideas, without putting the things that we are learning up to any litmus test. We are just accepting them. And as a leader, a global leader, an enlivened leader, you have got to begin to break down those cultural fairy tales, those ideas, those behaviors, those beliefs, right? We have got to consistently do this. And it's not just a one-time thing because we're constantly absorbing from society. We're constantly absorbing from our culture. So it's not like, oh, I did that, I'm going to check it off the list, I'm done. This is something that we have to continue to do over and over in our life. Now, in our full programs, I teach that there are many cultural wounds. Beliefs is one, morals is one, values is one, food is one, education is one, right? So you have these different cultural wounds. You as a leader, you need to begin to go into your cultural wounds and identify some of what is found within there. And as you do that, you need to understand that they may or may not be what is serving you or needed for your next phase in life. Do you guys get what I'm saying, right? So our society is acting upon us consistently, constantly, all the time. We have to do the work as leaders, as people who want to make a contribution, no matter of how big that contribution may be, even just for us to have an enlivened life outside of making an impact, outside of doing stuff for others. It is incumbent upon us that we begin to know ourselves at a deeper level. And part of that is knowing your cultural wombs, reverencing the wombs that bore you. This comes from a Quranic phrase which says to reverence the wombs that bore you. I take it from physical womb to cultural womb, looking at the cultural wombs that made you who you are today. And it's one technique that I'm going to end on today, where if you take this one technique and begin to consistently employ it as you're going through your life, it will make you a better human being, point blank. All right. And that technique is called shape shifting. It's called shape shifting. How many of you have heard about this phrase? Because it's funny, when I put it out to some people, they have very negative ideas about what shape shifting was. Someone said, that sounds like an evil snake. That's not the type of shape shifting that I'm talking about, right? I want you to become a master shape shifter, actually. I want you to begin to look at what's on the surface and go deeper. So in the old days, or I should say in like ancient folkloric practices, shape shifting was the practice of being able to take the shape of another being. So someone could jump into a fox, jump into the body of a bear and live their life through that body, through that experience. There's a movie that my children, I'm not going to even remember, I'll find it for next time, but there's a movie where a girl has a problem with her mom, and she makes this prayer, this kind of spell, and turns her mom into the bear. So her mom is like walking around like through the bear. And sometimes she would be the bear, and sometimes she would be her regular human self, right? And so what I'm saying is that what I want you to do is to begin to look at life not through the eyes of a fox or a bear, but through the eyes of the other human being. Meaning that when you come into a situation that could have multiple interpretations, that you begin to see how else could this be played out? What else could be happening right here? How else could this be viewed? Do you understand what I'm saying about this process of shape-shifting? So it is where you become a master shapeshifter in that you're not only looking at things through your own lens, you're looking at how you can understand it from the lens of someone else's perspective. All right. So let me give you a quick example. So of how this may play out. So on the side, imagine I sent you this picture with the headline of, children in Vietnam are being, beaten through the evil, through the evil miners or something, right? And you just see that picture on the side. So imagine you're not seeing any of this, right? You're just seeing this. And so you're like, oh my God, that's horrendous. Those people are evil, blah, blah, blah. And then when you see the full picture, a little bit more, you're like, oh my God, that kid was just down there laughing and doing that to himself, right? And so sometimes as a leader, you can't just jump to conclusions on what's happening. You have to slow yourself down. And this is one of the reasons that Enliven Your Soul, like why we take so many global trips, we have to begin to look at things from a different lens. And it doesn't mean that it may change the way that our view or our belief about a certain thing, but what it does mean is that we have a greater understanding, right? A greater understanding of the peoples around us and ways that it comes up. So here is another example that came up. Did you guys see this? It was on Facebook like maybe a couple of years ago. It was all over the place. There was this dress. And I wonder what color what color is the dress? What color do you all see it as? What color do you see the dress? Because this came up over and over and over on Facebook. It was like, it went viral because someone posted this dress and I said that it was blue and black, right? Some people posted the dress. I said it was blue and black. Some other people said it was, I forgot the other color, green and white. So Sister Samaya sees green and white. I clearly see blue and black. Clearly, right? I clearly see blue and black. And I could be like, Sister Samaya, like, what are you talking about? How could you ever think that that dress was green and white? It's blue and black. It's blue and black, right? Julie's with me. Like me and Julie, we're over here. We're smart. Like you got something going on where you are just, on the other side, right? So anyway, they had this dress circulating on the internet and it sparked a huge debate. And so people were kind of trying to figure out what happened. So what happened? So what they said was that our eyes, the human eye, has about 6 million different cones that are sensitive to green, red, or blue. All right. So these signals, they come from the cones, they go to the brain, and then it is interpreted as color. Now, what they say is that when it comes to color, blue is the weirdest one. We have the fewest number of blue cones in our eyes. So if you don't have that many blue cones, you may see it as white. If you have a lot of blue cones, then you see it as more blue. Isn't that like absolutely amazing? Like the biology of how we're seeing things. But what I'm saying is that this is such a key reminder of how we can go around looking at things and thinking that we are 100% correct. It is the only way that this could be viewed. That is right and this is wrong, right? And we live our lives like that sometimes. But as a leader, a global leader, it is incumbent upon us to see how could this possibly be viewed from a different light. And to understand that just because I have been socialized to think of it in a particular way is not necessarily the only way. It's not necessarily the only way. All right. So these are some of the things that we're going to be discussing over the next year or so. I created something called the Luminary Circle. It is a year-long program where we're actually going to be diving deep into the concepts of culture, into the concepts of global leadership, into the concepts of doing the soul work, the looking deeply within our own cultural wombs. And this is a year-long program that is not only going to be doing those things, it's also going to take you abroad. It's going to take you to other places so that you can literally drop in to another society and be able to see how that society plays out, what are the traditions that have been passed down in that area, and how can you take what you are learning and implement it into your life. All right, and implement it into your life. So as I mentioned, we're going to be going to Morocco, Tanzania, and Japan next year on this global excursion. Some folks who are going to be with us for the year are going to just one or two of the different locations, right? So to Samaya, they didn't sign up for the year, they signed up for the actual, just the trip, right? But for the year-long program, we're going to be having our full cocoon, our full global leadership. And so I wanted to invite you, for those of you who are interested in going to that next step in your phase, in your life, and you want mentorship, you want to connect with other women who are doing the same thing, I'm going to ask you, like, are you up for it? Are you up for doing the work? Are you up for stretching? Are you up for exploring these big ideas, right? Because some of us may feel like this, right? Like some different light bulbs have gone off during this presentation, during this short time that we've been together right now. But it's like, oh my God, like what exactly am I going to do with all this information? So the light bulb went off. You actually grabbed the light, right? But you're not still quite sure how to use it fully. And I understand that these are big ideas and there's a lot going forward. So this is why, one of the reasons why we don't try to squeeze these things down. You can't really make a huge shift in your life in like a day. You know, of course your mind can be open, but it takes you time to think, takes you time to reflect, takes you time to take action and then come back and see how it worked or how you may want to tweak it for the next time. You understand? You understand? So our Leadership Academy is a 12-month global leadership academy of self-discovery, transformative travel, and service, right? Where you're going to learn and network with a diverse group of women visionaries who are ready to make an impact in the world. So I'm going to share with you the video of it right now, and then we're going to open up for a Q&A. Can you feel it? There's something in the air, something calling us to a greater human experience, a tug on our soul saying it's time to live bolder, brighter, and more connected to the world. And at the same time, it's time for us to live deeply connected to our soul and our passions and our truths. I believe that we are at a critical time in our lives, a time of rebirth and redesign. And as an anthropologist and student of culture, I often relate this to a walkabout. It's an Australian Aboriginal coming-of-age practice where a young man will leave home and set off on a solo journey of self-discovery and personal growth. And right now, I feel like we women luminaries are on the verge of our own walkabouts. But we may or may not have the full blessing of the village. We seemingly have it all to those around us, and they may not understand this deep internal drive to see the world, study other cultures, and explore the big questions in life. You know, questions about humanity, spirituality, morality, history. This time, we have to give ourselves the permission to grow. My name is Zarinah El-Amin Naeem. I'm an anthropologist, and I created the Luminary Circle. We are a supportive village of diverse women who are ready to travel and study the world, deepen our relationship skills, and connect to our souls through adventure and service. A luminary is a light, and in our Luminary Circle Global Leadership Academy, over the span of a year, you'll have the opportunity to connect with transformational world leaders and be supported along with your personal journey as a woman of the world, a global citizen. We want to feed your bright sense of curiosity and really help you to integrate what you learn into your business, your work, and your life. You'll travel with me and exceptional guides to cultural hotspots of the world. You'll be able to go to places well beyond the resort and step into the richness of the country. You'll be able to experience it from the perspective of its people, with its incredible history and traditions, as well as its challenges. You'll be able to understand the complexities of the lived experiences of peoples around the world and share meals with them, speaking different languages and seeing the world through a different pair of eyes. For the nuts and bolts, you could ask what you gain as a member, and I could talk to you about supporting you with monthly calls and private Facebook groups and trainings. I could talk about all of those, but the truth is that along the journey of our year, the meanings of peace, of culture, and humanity become clearer, and you'll find yourself opening up to a whole new world of possibilities. The valuable lessons that we learn monthly and when we travel will shape you and continue to inspire you no matter where your life may lead. One thing is for sure, at the end of our year together, you'll appreciate giving yourself the gift of soul work, of global work. So I invite you to apply, to stretch, do something different, become a luminary, and let's be on this journey together. Let me support you on becoming a global citizen, learning about the world and connecting to your soul. Because when you enliven your soul, you enliven the world. So that's our program coming up for next year. And so for this year, and for those of you who are interested in joining right now, go to enlivenyoursoul.com/luminary and you can apply. And it is an application because not everyone is a luminary yet. I'll say it that way. But you can understand that it's a special type of environment that requires a special type of person. And the fact that you are here probably means that you are that type of mind that is open, that is caring, that is willing to stretch, and so I would invite you to apply. All right, so I'm going to open this up for Q&A on anything that we have discussed so far, any of the fairy tales that have come up, or if you would like to share any of the quote-unquote homework that I gave you on thinking about how you want to illuminate, thinking about a fairy tale that you need to break in your life, thinking about perhaps how Ubuntu can play out in your life. So I have set aside 22 more minutes to be able to answer any questions or support you in any way. And if you have a question about something else, use this time. Quite frankly, people pay me a lot of money just to sit down and talk to me. So you have me for 22 minutes right now where we can support you and help you move whatever it is that it needs to in your life. And for Sister Sumaya, I see you. And yes, some of us may not be able to take the full opportunity right now, but you make an intention for yourself. And honestly, if you feel called to do it, sometimes I have stretched beyond where I thought was even possible because I made the intention. And then I put in some action into how could I. So versus saying I can't do that right now, I thought about, okay, how can I do it? What do I need to shift in order for me to actually make it happen? How can I, possibly bring in some additional income or shift something around in order for me to make this a reality for me? And so many times we will knock ourselves out of things. And I'm not just talking to you. I just mean in general. I've done it so many times in my life. I will knock myself out of programs or opportunities because I just felt can't do that right now. Bam, just can't do it. And it wasn't actually true. It may have taken some deeper thinking, some maneuvering, some figuring out, but as Marie Folio says, she always says, everything is figure outable. And it is so true. If you really want to begin to do things in a different way, sometimes you got to stretch. You got to figure it out. All right, so let's see. Any questions? What questions do you all have? Miss Patricia, Miss Aisha, Sister Sumaya, Julie. Who else is here? Catherine. And if you don't have any questions, it's okay. Oh, have I set the dates for Japan? Yes, Japan is going to be October 18th through 28th. So the same dates as Morocco, 18th through 28th, but it's going to be October 18th through 28th. So I can send me an email and then I'll send you the itinerary for Japan. And Tanzania is July. So Morocco is April 18th through 28th. Okay, we're going to be there right around Easter time. You're going to fly into Casablanca on the 18th. Okay. And then from Casablanca, we're doing a taste of Morocco. So we're not just taking you just to one city, just to one part. You're going to actually get a full taste. And you're also going to be going to the villages of the Amazigh in the Atlas Mountains. And this is really important because a lot of times people will go to a place and they'll just stay in the tourist areas, not really get out. And our full experiences are built on getting out, right? Getting out. And really tapping into the people. So you're going to leave on the 17th from the United States, depending on where you are in the world. I know Catherine's in Australia, but you get to Casablanca on the 18th. All right, get to the Casablanca on the 18th. Yeah, Julie, I saw you. Yep, I saw you. You can get the recording of this as well. And we'll see you in Morocco. All right, marhaba. Okay, so July is Tanzania. Now, July is centered around both the Maasai. I've teamed up with, there are only 5 women guides in Tanzania. 5 out of all of the guides that do, trips and work and tours and all of that, there are only 5 women. And I found the company that actually works with these women. So we're going to be going off the beaten path again in Tanzania. That's from July 1st through 10th. And this is that's that time of the year is when the migration is happening on the Serengeti. So we're going to be able to see the big 5, the animals. And you're going to also be able to really connect with the people in the Maasai villages and some of the other areas that we're going to go to. So that's July 1st through 10th. And then the third one, I should say, is October. And October is going to be for Japan. And I'm so excited. I'm excited about all of them, but I really am excited about Japan because it is so different from the other areas. And this is one of the reasons that we're stretching. Like, we want to compare and contrast these different societies. And so Japan is going to be October 18th through the 28th. October 18th through the 28th in Japan. And like the other places, we're not going to just stay in Tokyo. We're going to actually go around, be able to meet with some women leaders and really get off the beaten path. So that's going to be happening October 18th through 28th. And if you're interested in anything, if you are interested in Luminary, go to, Luminary or any of the locations. Go and apply so that you can start the process of connecting with me and I can talk to you about the possibilities. If you really want to be a part of this and you just can't quite figure out how you're going to make the investment work at the beginning, talk to me anyway, because we may be able to figure something out where maybe we need to stretch your payment plan out. As long as we are able to get what we need to get to cover all the trips right up front, I'm flexible, So it's not about, really, if you break it all down, it's not about it's not really about the investment. It's about what we're going to be able to do with these experiences that we're having. Patricia, I know you've already been, but are you going to take a trip back to Senegal? I'm possibly going to be taking a trip back to Senegal, not next year. It may be in some years coming up. Yeah. But Patricia, if you're interested in Senegal, I would also say Tanzania. I would definitely check that out. Now, one of the areas that we're going to be going to in Tanzania is the Liki. So there's an area where they found like the first human, quote unquote, human remains, right? And so they say that all civilization comes from this particular part of the world. And we're going to be going to that part in Tanzania, which I'm so excited about, like actually being in this space where they dug and found like the oldest human remains. So that's going to be really, really cool. How about Egypt? And you must come to Pakistan. Girl, the whole world is on the list. The whole world is on the list. Absolutely. You know, absolutely. There are so many places that we're going to be going over the years, and every one of them is going to be absolutely amazing. We're praying that God continues to bless us, because we've had some, just some dynamic times, some really, really, really dynamic times. Stuff happens on our experiences that we don't plan, but it always comes out amazing. It always comes out amazing. Is it winter in Africa at that time? Which time? Which time do you mean? July? I think you're talking about July. For the Southern Hemisphere, I always pick the times of the year to go to places like when it's not blazing, blazing hot. I don't like being in places where I'm like, dying going outside. I want to be comfortable. So for Tanzania in July, yes, you remember it's underneath the equator. So July is the perfect time to go to that area. In Morocco in April, it's a beautiful time. Like, we're going to be in the desert, right? So you're going to be able to go to the Sahara Desert and you're not going to die. You're not going to die in the desert, because we selected a time where it's going to be absolutely, a beautiful time. How much time are we going to spend at the gorge? We're going to be there for a day. So one day is all centered around that. Yeah. One day is all going to be there. So we have some cooking classes, we have some leadership work. We have the service projects that we're going to be doing, giving back in that way. And that particular day is like, a day that we'll be there doing different stuff. Yeah, Pakistan is super hot. I like to be comfortable. That's one of the reasons why I always like kind of pick which time of the year we're going to go different places. Is I like to be comfortable. I don't think it makes any sense to not be comfortable, honestly. Like, why would I choose to go somewhere unless there was like a wedding or something that happened, where I had to be there at a certain time. Otherwise, I'm going to go with the time where I feel great. So Patricia, Tanzania is July 1st through 10th. July 1st through 10th. And we're going to be going on some safari. So that means we're going to be able to see the beautiful animal kingdom of the world. We're going to have our own Lion King experience. If some of you guys started singing that out, don't laugh, because I may just bust out and sing that out. And I'm sure they have heard it so many times, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, it's July 1st through the 10th for Tanzania. So we're going to be going to the safari. We're going to be going to the Maasai villages. We're also going to be looking at some bead work, some of the jewelry that's made from that area. And the owner of the company that I've teamed up with to handle us on the ground is from a Maasai village. Now, this was also important because there are a lot of different tour companies and such, but this one in Tanzania is actually it's the only company that's owned by a Maasai himself, which is actually really cool and super duper important. So that is July 1st through 10th. And for the Luminary program, we meet monthly. We're kicking off on February 12th. That's a Tuesday. February 12th is when our orientation call is going to be. So for those of you who are like, I want to be in this for the year. I want to have this year of the world. I want to really be able to connect, be with these other sisters, have this cocoon. Then I'm going to tell you, really get it together by February 11th so that we can have you into this first orientation on February 12th, which is a Tuesday. All right. Any other questions coming up? Any other questions? Now, I'm curious for you all, for those of you who are thinking about it or not thinking about it, quite frankly, too. Those of you who are like, that doesn't sound interesting to me. That's not anything I would be interested in. I want to hear from you as well. It's important for us as we're developing leaders to be able to hear what stops someone. What are the inner thoughts that are kind of keeping people back from jumping into things that are going to help them? This is one of the things that I think is so important so that we understand how we can help people get to their next level, even when they may have internal hangups. right? Even when they may have internal hangups. So the total cost for Luminary, including all 3 experiences, is $23,000. And that is the introductory investment for 2019. And what that includes is all 3 of the experiences. It includes the full year of support. It includes the connecting with me and talking about how you are going to reintegrate back into our society, how you are going to connect with the world that's happening, and also, in what is it? I can't think of the word right now, but like imbue that into your own leadership. Because it's not just about taking a vacation. Okay, let me say that. It's not just about taking a vacation. It's about connecting with the world, learning about the world, and also implementing what you learn into your life, right? Implementing what you learn into your life. So for those who are up and you're really like at the place where you know you want to do some things, right? Like you know you want some support, then this is for you. Wayakum, you're ready. You're welcome. So, and I have to tell you that some of the ladies who have joined, like it's been amazing for me to see the caliber of women that are stepping up and saying yes to themselves. You know, women who are saying, I do everything for everybody else all around me. I've never given myself this type of experience. Like, what is it like to be held and supported and my leadership to be, molded with someone else? A lot of us have had to do a lot of the stuff that we've done like on our own, and we're all leaders in our own light, right? A lot of us usually have to do stuff all on our own, and being in this type of space, this cocoon where we can connect and grow and learn is, some people haven't never had that before. They haven't really had someone else to be able to support them. Donna, hi Donna. So this is definitely interesting to me, and probably so many more. You are so right about taking vacations to the next level. This, you're true, Donna. This is about transformative travel. Transformative travel. So you can travel. Like I have a friend that, goes to, where'd she go? Mexico. She goes to this resort in Mexico every year, right? And that's absolutely great. It's great. I'm not knocking it at all. But she never goes off of the resort. Like she's only on the resort. She's never met with any, Mexicans outside, doesn't get a real authentic experience because she's only on the resort the whole time. Now, for us, like I told you, I like luxury and I like comfort. So I'm always going to make sure that I'm, in comfort. But this is not just about sitting on the beach for 7 days or 8 days or 9 days, right? This is actually about connecting with the people, learning about how they do life. And for that, you have to leave the resort, okay? It's beyond the resort. It is. It's beyond the resort. We don't stay in the hotel all day and just sit around. Nope, that's not it. So we go out. We do cooking classes, not like at the fancy restaurant down, in our hotel. We're actually going out and cooking with the locals, right? That's the type of experiences that we have. So yeah, it's taking vacations to the whole next level. It is transformative travel. Transformative travel. All right. Any other questions? And what's coming up for you? Like for you, Donna, like what's coming up for you? Have you ever invested in yourself at this level? Have you ever like stretched and really done something that kind of made you a little bit afraid? How many of you feel like nervous, afraid about stepping into this type of opportunity? For some, travel is nerve-wracking. For some, kind of stretching out and doing stuff, like you start to feel some slight anxiety inside, like what if it's not what I think it's going to be? Or, what if I end up, wasting my money? Or what if I don't like Zarinah? What if I really don't like her? I think I like her right now, but what if I really don't like her? You know what I mean? Like you get different thoughts that come into yourself. And I'll tell you that it's important for you to kind of work through thoughts and figure out, is this something that's just trying to block me? Because your subconscious will do that. It will try to keep you on the same level that you've been comfortable at. And so when you start to stretch and enhance your leadership and go to the next levels, there are going to be some uncomfortable times that come. It's just a natural part of the process. Not everything is going to feel 100% comfortable, right? But you should know in your soul, like, yeah, this is something I want to do. I was talking to a lady yesterday that found me because someone forwarded her one of my messages. And so then she went through and she had a session with me yesterday. And so she was like, I just knew, like, we had a whole call. By the end of this call, I never talked to this lady before. By the end of this call, we were both like, love you, when we hung up the phone, right? Because she knew in her spirit that what I had to offer was going to help her get to the next level. She knew that this called to her, and she wasn't going to allow anything to stop her from having the experience. And so I want that same type of conviction for you. I want you to make a decision for yourself. You know, not stay on the fence. Make a decision that I'm going to jump in. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see how my life could look. I'm going to see how it opens up possibilities for me. So, Sister Samaya, I've never traveled with a group of women before, so maybe nervous about that. Yeah, you know what? I interview everybody that comes into our programs now. And I do that for a reason, to make sure that everyone has the same type of, you know, open mind and spirit and giving heart and all of that. And we have had some amazing experiences. Like, we've never really had anything on our trips where it's like, what, you know? And so you don't really have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that, because everything is really taken care of. From the time we pick you up at the airport to the time we drop you off, you really don't have to. You don't have to figure out where you're staying. You don't have to figure out where you're going to eat lunch. You don't have to figure out how to get here and there. You know, like, we have everything worked out for you. And so we removed a lot of the anxiety that comes with travel. All you need is, number one, you must have this, an open mind. You must have an open mind, and you must be willing to be someone who is okay with differences, you know, okay with stretching, okay with doing something that maybe is like, oh, I never thought about that before, but let me see, you know what I mean? Like, that type of attitude. Let me see, let me try it. That type of attitude will take you so far when you travel. It will take you so far. All right. Let's see. Donna, this is everything that I prayed about doing with my life at retirement and decided, why wait? Absolutely. Start figuring out how to make it happen now. Yeah. So Donna, go to the site and click the button that says apply. Like, when you go to enlivenyoursoul.com/luminary, you're going to come up to the video that you just watched. There's a button down there. Click that button and it's going to take you to the page that has all the information on Luminary. Okay. Click the apply. And when you click apply, you're going to be able to apply, and then we'll talk and we'll see, you know, what we can do, how we can help you make it happen, you know, for you. All right. So do that, and then we'll figure it out. But I'm excited because it sounds like right now where you are, this is something that's going to really help you go to the next level. I was talking to one of my old bosses, she is the vice president of diversity and inclusion at Western Michigan University. And so I was talking to her about retirement, because she heard about the program. I sent it out to like all my, you know, friends and stuff. So she heard about the program and she sent it to some lifelong learner, a group, I guess, an organization or a department at Western called Lifelong Learning. And what she was saying was that so many people, like, when they hit retirement, a lot of times, like, they're not done. Like, you know, you still have so much life, but it's like, you don't want to just do stuff that's whack or that's boring or that's not contributing to society. Like, you really want to do something major, right? You've worked all this time up to this point, and now you want to do something like for yourself, something that lights you up and has the potential to light up other people. Hence why we call it Luminary, right? Light up us and light up the world. So, you know, she was talking to me about that, and I realized that that retirement age is such an important time to be able to just take your life to the next level. So Donna, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to talk to you and learn about you more. And then, you know, we'll see. Okay, so that's 22 minutes. It's time to stop. Unless there are any last minute questions going once. I think there's like a delay here, so I will wait just a few seconds to see if there are any last minute questions. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking out for all of you who are going to be applying for Luminary. And don't let the investment scare you. For those of you who have never invested in yourself at this level, I remember the first time I made like a 5-figure investment in myself. I was scared than a mug. Like I was like nervous. I think I was like kind of sweating. Like I had these feelings like, because I had never done anything like that. Because my cultural fairy tale again was like the only thing that you pay for that's expensive is like college or a car, like you don't invest in yourself like that outside of college. So that was my conditioning that I had to break through. And so the first time I made an investment, which was actually twice of Luminary, I was quite afraid and fearful. So I can understand where those of you who are, not accustomed to doing things for yourself or really getting this level of support, I understand, why it feels like that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna sign off. Miss Patricia, Miss Samaya, Miss Donna, Miss Catherine, Julie, Aisha, I'm gonna sign off and I will be looking for your applications. Go to enlivenyoursoul.com/luminary and I'll see you all in Morocco or on February 12th. That's actually when we will start, February 12th. All right, love you all. Have a great day.